Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a fun review and demo using a new product from the drugstore. Very exciting. I always get very excited when we chat about drugstore products, but specifically I get very excited when I have a very good drugstore product to talk about. So that's a little spoiler. But anyways, today we are chatting about a new palette from Maybelline. This one is the Burgundy Bar. I actually own quite a few Maybelline eyeshadow palettes, including the nudes and the blushed nudes. And these ones here I love to death. I use these all the time. I travel with these as well because they're a little bit more compact and they just have a great shade range. So I was very excited when Maybelline sent me the Burgundy Bar because I felt like I was gonna be just as in love, but I am actually more in love. This formula has definitely improved, especially their shimmer shades. I found with the nudes line that the shimmery shades weren't as pigmented as this new Burgundy Bar, so I was very excited. Another reason why I was excited is because Burgundy, as you can tell, is one of my favorite shades to play with. I have dark hair, dark eyes, and I find that it looks just really great on my aesthetics. Is that the right word? But nonetheless, I feel like Burgundy is one of those shades that looks good on so many different skin tones and eye colors, hair colors. It's just one of those shades that are just so stunning on so many people. So I was really happy that they chose to go with that theme. I feel like the theme is super on trend. Everybody loves warm shadows. If you're like me and are totally obsessed with warm tone shadows, then you'll really enjoy the shade range in this palette. It is phenomenal. I really like it. It's not just burgundy shades. Of course, there are some really beautiful warm browns, warm kind of like champagnes, and also some kind of like creamy golden shades, but not like in your face gold, more of like a toned back gold. So here is the palettes up close and personal. They are beautiful. I love the shade range. The palette has 12 stunning shades and I think it does give a great amount of shimmers and mattes. I think if they had one more cream matte that would be nice, but that's the only thing I would add to the palette. And I also like the size of the pans. They are big enough that you can get pretty much any type of brush in there, which is really nice. I just want to swatch some of them for you guys. So I just swatched 4 of the shades for you, and that was just going in with my finger and swatching it on my hand. Of course, you guys saw how pigmented this center shade is on my actual eye with a brush, so that really goes to show the difference between swatching with a finger and then putting it actually on your face with a brush. But honestly, I really am pleased with all these shadows. So as I mentioned, the formula I feel has definitely improved on this palette. I'll insert some demos of me using it. I am wearing it on my eyes right now. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shades to try and get as many shades on my eye as possible to test out. I started off with the nice light matte brown shade and I used that as my, of course, crease and transition color, and I really liked it. It went on a little bit more cool than I expected, but I wasn't mad at it. Like, it wasn't like gray. It wasn't coming off too taupe or gray on me at all. So I wasn't mad at it whatsoever. It blended out like a dream. It's so easy. And then I went right along to this shade here. So this is probably the most like vibrant burgundy shade in the palette, very maroon. And I decided to put that kind of as like a halo on my eye, and it pigmented. I was expecting pigmentation, but not quite this much. So very pleased with that. It is a shimmery shadow, but I actually had no problems putting it in my kind of deep crease area and in the inner corner, outer corner. I had no issues with that. I'm having no issues either with it kind of creasing up. I do have oily eyelids. I did use a primer, but I am having no problems with it creasing at all, because sometimes that happens when I use too many shimmery shades all over my eyes. It tends to just kind of crease up and become a hot mess. That is not happening, so I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, the maroon shade blended like a dream. I always find that shimmery shadows blend a lot better than matte shadows, so there was no issue there whatsoever, and it was very pigmented, and I just went right in with a brush. I didn't use any Fix Plus. Moving on to this beautiful champagne kind of color, I put that right on the center of my lid. And at first I went in with just a dry brush, but I really wanted to push it to its limit and try it with a little bit of spray. I'm out of Fix Plus, so I use the Makeup Forever. This is a mist and fix. Pretty much anything's gonna work. You can wet your brush and it'll work. And I did notice that it kind of did something weird to the palette, but the eyeshadow itself applied beautifully, and I was very pleased with how like poof, in your face it was. So definitely did exactly what I wanted it to do. So overall, from those 3 shadows, I was already like, okay, I love this palette. It's really working well for me. Then I moved into the darkest shadow in the palette. So I thought it was a dark brown, but it's actually more of a purple in a very deep deep purple at that, which I was pretty surprised, but pleasantly surprised. So it is a matte shadow, and I just put it on the outer V of my eyes and just kind of blended it in, kind of gave it a little bit more of a cat eye and a little bit more dimension, and it worked like a dream. The matte shades really are not too pigmented, but pigmented enough that you get great color payoff, but still easy to blend out. Because one issue is that people want so much pigmentation, but sometimes if they are too pigmented, matte specifically, it's impossible to work with because it's so much, especially with dark colors, it's so much on the eye, and it's not easy to blend out whatsoever. So this was the perfect in between. So it really did deepen up the outer V, but it wasn't to the point where I couldn't blend it into the other shades and kind of diffuse it. So it looked really like a gradient effect. So very pleased. So the palette is available now. I have seen it at a few drugstores around where I live, and I have seen it at Walmart as well, and it does go for $16.99 Canadian. That's kind of the average price that I've been seeing. I believe it's about $13, $12 USD. I will list it here for you as well, and then I'll link it down below if you are interested in checking it out even further. But overall, I really do like it. The only downfall is the brush. So it is a double-ended brush, and one side is the nice typical like sponge brush, which I've heard a lot of bloggers tell me to keep these to do swatches, and then the other side is like this point, like flat kind of brush. I'm not really sure what it's trying to be. I feel like it's a great step in the right direction, trying to give us a tool that we can actually utilize, a double-ended brush. That's awesome, but it's just not quite there yet. And I know Maybelline can produce brushes because I own a few of their brushes from the Gigi Hadid collab, and they're really nice. They pick up color really nicely, and they're soft, and I don't know what's up with that. I would definitely say the brush is definitely the #1 downfall, but also the fact that it doesn't have a mirror. I'm pretty adamant about having mirrors in my palettes, mainly because of travel purposes, but just because it's so much easier to kind of have it open, do your makeup. I'm usually pretty adamant about mirrors in palettes just because it makes life so much easier if you travel a lot, or you do your makeup on the go, or sometimes you don't do your makeup at home or you need to touch up elsewhere. It's so nice to have a palette that has a mirror, you know what I mean? So those are the only two improvements to the palette that I could find. Otherwise, the actual product itself is amazing. It's definitely my favorite drugstore palette at the moment, and it definitely is my favorite Maybelline palette for sure. It is such great quality, and I'm super impressed with the colors and the pigmentation and the quality of the shadows. Love it. Of course, if you want to see how I got this complete makeup look, go ahead and jump over to my Instagram page. I always upload my makeup tutorials over there if they are not already on here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts on the palette down below if you've tried it, or your favorite drugstore palette that you'd like me to review, because I am definitely concentrating a lot more on affordable drugstore products specifically here on my channel. So if you have any reviews that you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, and of course, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.